No, you're good.
You're good. So listen, as I was saying, number one thing first that I told Stan, and I think he agreed with, was before we do anything, we got to build our bond. And building your bond normally takes place, like a real good bond, between that 8 and 16 week mark. If you can get that dog to, I won't say obsess about you, but really care about you in that time frame, great things are to come as long as you stay consistent. What are some things that you say they could do to build that bond from 8 to 16 weeks? And clearly it's got to be sustained, but like that time is critical.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that they can do. They can start by hand feeding the dog a lot, making the dog understand that good things come from you. Balls, tugs, if they were going to interact with those kind of things as well, make sure the dog knows that those things come from you. And quality time is going to go wonders. Take your dog out for rides. If you're going to go get some gas, take your dog with you. Walk him out at the gas station. If you're going to a friend's house, take the dog with you. Bring him inside, have him in your lap, hold the dog, caress the dog, pet the dog. All of these kind of things are going to build that bond and that relationship with the dog.
See what I'm saying? And one of the things that I do is I start wearing old clothes, because dogs, they're here first, right? That's what they start with. Everything starts with their nose, and then they basically like see or they hear. I don't know what's next.
I think it's
nose, eyes, ears.
Nose, ears, eyes.
There you go.
Nose, eyes, ears. Nose, ears, eyes. One of them.
One of them. Look it up. That being said, one of the things I personally do is I wear some old clothes, and as my dogs lay down and begin to relax, when they go to bed or sleep, I put my clothes in there. And what you see is a lot of times my dogs will naturally go and lay on anything that I've been on, to be clear, because that's another thing that connects him to me while doing everything that he says too. Even if I'm walking them, at some point I'll pick them up and carry them for a little bit, especially if I feel like they're tired and need a break, or they just need to be with me. Another thing I implemented was being able to hold my dog for a minute. You know, like pick them up and carry them since they was puppies, and I can still do it to this day with all of my adult dogs. So the next big thing, we're building the bond. The dog starts getting familiar, saying, hey, that's my person. That's who I fuck with. Next thing we do is we start talking about energy, because now energy matters, and you don't want to pour negative energy into your dog, and your dog's gonna frustrate you. Those are the facts. It's gonna piss, poop, shit, and tear some stuff up. So what are some things that they should focus on when managing their energy and managing their pup's energy?
That's a great question there. So some things you want to focus on, of course, is going to be you. How do you feel? Are you energetic? Are you tired? Are you in a bad mood? Did your girlfriend piss you off? Did your mom cut you out? Anything like that. You want to make sure that you're in the right headspace. Just like the dog, you want to make sure that they're paying attention to what's going on as well, because they are going to reflect your energy when it comes to working with the dog.
And look, people, here's the thing about energy. One of the most important things about energy is watching your pitch, right? So let's say you go sit, sit, sit. That energy drop, the dog's no longer tuned in, and in some way, form, or fashion, it can turn into something negative.
Yeah, because then the dog's going to start waiting for that change of tone to respond to the command, because the low tone commands necessarily don't mean anything, because you never shown the dog that it meant anything. The dog doesn't know it means it needs to do it until you raise that tone. Yeah. So again, if you can't control the outcome, especially with puppies, don't ask them to do the commands. Give them something else. Give them a startle reflex. You can snap, you can whistle, you can clap, you can make noise, so they will not learn to ignore your commands.
So, and get this, so that means the key to real energy and all the energy that you pour into your dog is managing yourself. That's the real key. And again, if you start having bad repetitions or you get annoyed easy, if I'm only good for 3, I'm gonna do 3 and move on. That's it. I might say, hey, come here, sit, sit. When that sit sounds like, come on, man, sit. The dog's no longer tuned in. It's no longer tuned in, and now we're talking about bad repetitions. They let the dog go play again. Recall them back. Sit, 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 sit. Boom. But you got to be conscious, if you would, of that energy that's coming out of your mouth, and for that matter, your body, your soul. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So next, you get into the commands. So people, 2 things that are very important in our experience and our opinion is both the bond. Start with the bond, then start practicing your energy. Then when you got some good energy and a good bond, or the bond's developing, you go into commands. And one of the most important commands, as Stan will tell you, is recall.
Yep.
And that's what we're going to show you next.
Yep.
Go ahead and kill it. So, let's go.
Alright, so we're here with Jamarcus and his pup Nala, and we're going to work on some recall stuff. So there's going to be 2 forms of recall that you're going to want to use. There's going to be a casual recall, and then there's going to be a disciplined recall. Casually, that means the dog just comes and be in your vicinity. You'll work in a minute, little lady. The dog just comes. Hey.
Let's relax. It's
Hush.
okay.
you're not missing out on nothing. I'm gonna put your ass back in the car. Boom, boom, boom. All right, so we're here. Start over.
Just keep going. Just keep going. You good. You cut it. Remember, you know how to cut.
Oh, yeah, I guess I do. Huh? Whoa, boom.
Casual recall.
Yeah,
casual recall.
Recalls, yeah.
The casual recall is going to be when the dog gets in your vicinity and they are within range. It doesn't have to be any formal command. It doesn't have to be any physical spot. Hey, shut up.
It's okay. This is good bloopers too.
Hush. Down. So, recall. Boom, boom, boom. The recall is the most important command that you are going to have with your dog, because if the dog gets out, it's going to be able to keep them safe. So you want to have multiple ways to call your dog. There's going to be a discipline and there's going to be a casual. Casual, she's just going to come to your vicinity. It doesn't have to be any physical position, and you're going to work on that by motion. So I'm going to hold this here, and you're going to get your dog's attention and walk that way.
Okay. Nala.
And when she joins you, mark the behavior.
Good girl. Good girl, Nala. Good girl.
All right, get a little more excited.
All right.
See, this is that energy we were talking about.
Yeah, he's a dead body. I told him that.
All right, so let's see if she'll work with me. So it'll be like, no, yeah, girl, come on, good job, good job, good. Come on now, come.
See, all of a sudden her praise pick up.
So you want to make sure, again, they're reflecting off of you. So get excited, especially with puppies. Yeah, good job. And you can you can repeat these kind of commands, because this isn't formal. This isn't a get here as soon as you can. This is a we're about to go. Come on, let's go.
Yeah.
And you see, they're getting excited about it because they're like, oh, we're leaving. You're about to leave me. I don't want you to leave me. So try that now. Smile.
Yeah,
there we go.
Bitch.
Come on, Nala. Come here, baby. Come on, Nala. Good girl, Nala. Good girl. Yeah, good girl. Come on, Nala. Come on, Nala. Come on, baby.
There you
Come
go.
on, Nala. Good girl. Yeah. Now, huh? Yeah, come on.
So you can see the difference in his energy change when he raised that level up. She got more excited. Now she's engaged. Now she's jumping up on him. And this is the behaviors that we want our dogs to be at whenever we are working with them. We want them at that high level, because if they're chasing a squirrel and we call them, they need to know that we are more important.
Oh, man.
Never no moment with dogs, people.
He's a nut.
But we want them to know that there are fun stuff from us, and we're going to be at that high level, and that squirrel might not. So the next thing we're going to do is, this is the formal.
Okay.
This is when she has to come and sit. I use the word front for that. You can say cheese, you can say here, whatever you want it to be.
Gotcha.
But this is going to be that formal, that it has to be this particular way.
Gotcha.
And if it's not, you can actually correct the dog when they're messing up in this instance, because they know exactly why they're being corrected.
Yeah.
So what you're going to do is, you're going to use your lure on this one. Get it in front. You're going to call her front, and you're going to tell her sit. And when she sits, you're going to give her a treat.
So you use front as your to lure her, correct?
Yeah.
And then sit as the command to get her to obviously sit.
So eventually, you're going to tell her front, and she'll do it on her own. So front means come to me and be seated. It doesn't mean just sit down.
Gotcha.
So if she's over here, front, she's going to come and sit before she gets that reward. And this is a discipline. She has to be in this position before she gets that reward. And the casual, as long as the dog comes, that's what we're marking. It doesn't need to be that formal, that end point. With this one, this is where it ends. It has to be this way.
Gotcha.
So give
And
that
then
a
you
shot.
started with a leash.
I mean, you can. She's paying attention to you. You use a leash to polish. You use a leash to make sure you can control the outcome. It's more of a just in case. I want to make sure the dog understands the positioning without the leash, because if we're always restraining, we're not training.
Gotcha.
If we're always helping them out, they're not really understanding what they're supposed to be doing. So you can use your movement, you can use your motion. If you need to use the leash, that's when you will. But she's following you now, so just drop it, get that lure right in front of her nose, because we can literally draw everything we want her to do with just that lure.
Gotcha. So I'm just luring her, get it in front, and then
Yes, I'm good, girl. I don't have nothing.
So let's go get you a computer so you can put this stuff.
Like two more. Good girl. What's up? Do you like two more fries? And then we'll close out.
Come here, Nala. Come here, baby. Come on. Come on. Come on. Front. Yes. Good girl.
All right, so the thing, so you don't want to have too much energy as well. So especially with pups, we want to make sure we're slowing down and putting them in proper position.
Gotcha.
Because if they lose that lure, we can't follow it. So if you're moving too fast, she's going to lose that lure. So you want to slow down, just be precise about your motion.
Gotcha.
It's not necessarily the speed that this is moving. It's going to be
Like I got the bite pillow or something out here. Yeah.
And even then, it's the same thing with the bite pillow. You don't want to be moving for no reason.
Gotcha.
Every step, everything that you're doing has to have value, especially with the dog, because they are paying attention to the small things that we're doing.
Gotcha.
Try it one more time.
Okay. Come here, Nala. Come here, baby. Come on.
Good.
Come on.
Good.
Come on. Come on. All right. Yes. Good girl. Good girl, baby.
So one more thing, when you go to tell her to sit, you're going here, and it's like it's working, but it's kind of slow.
Yeah.
So if you get it closer to her nose and then pull her head back, she's gonna sit quicker.
Gotcha.
So here to there is gonna work a lot more than up here.
Gotcha.
When she gets more confident, she's gonna start jumping for this treat.
Yeah.
We want her to know that, hey, boom, that's the behavior we want you to do.
Okay. Come here, Mama. Come here, baby. Come on. Come on. Come on, Mama. Yes. Good girl. So a little more quicker though with that front to back.
Yeah, I mean, you'll get it. It's just, you got to find your rhythm and your routine as well.
I start working with him too, so he can see kind of like right there.
So this is something for you to do. You got some homework. Next time I see you, I want your dog to be fronting
Okay.
and a casual recall. We're gonna add some distractions next time, so we're gonna test you out.
Okay.
So this is what you like to do, people. You got to make sure your dog understands what's expected. So he's gonna go home and practice in a non-distraction environment. And the next time he sees me, we're gonna put him through the test. So y'all stay tuned for more.